Have you ever wondered why that chocolate bar feels so irresistible, or why that energy slump in the afternoon leads you straight to the snack cupboards, emptying all the sweet snacks? Well, today we're diving deep into the topic of sugar cravings. We're going to talk about what causes them, how they affect our body and mind, and of course, most importantly, how we can manage those sugar cravings without falling back into that diet mentality, without falling back into the trap of restrictive diets. First, let's understand what is happening in our bodies. For this, let me take you back a few years. So, picture this me sitting at my desk, uni deadlines looming. I'm super stressed, and that familiar urge to dive into anything sweet comes up. It was my go to response to stress, a quick sugar fix to keep me going. But here's the twist, the more I gave in, the more I needed it. It was kind of like a cycle, sugar highs followed by exhausting lows. And it almost felt a little bit like an addiction, especially when I was stressed. I just felt like I needed a quick fix, and I just kept thinking about those sweet snacks. My relationship with sugar was more than just about taste. It was emotional, it was physical, and well, believe it or not, it was also, or it is also quite biological. Sugar cravings are not just about our willpower and whether we give in or not, they're deeply rooted in our biology. When you eat sugar, it triggers the release of those feel good hormones, serotonin and dopamine. So these chemicals make you feel good, and this creates a powerful reward circuit in your brain. And this response is completely natural. It actually helped our ancestors survive by seeking out high calorie or calorie rich foods in times of scarcity. But in today's world, this can lead to a cycle of craving and overeating because, well, many of us live in abundance when it comes to food and food choices. Of course, there's some that don't, but many of us, we don't have those famine and scarcities that they used to have in the past, but the biological response is still part of our body. So there may be food around us, but the chemical process in your brain, in that sense, don't know it, right? So there is those cravings that come naturally up. So it's deep in our biology, and I don't want to go too much into that. There's still a lot of other things we need to discuss, and one of which is, of course, stress. When you're stressed or tired, your body might crave sugar as a quick source of energy despite the eventual crash. We know that, or if we rationally think about it, we know that we're going to crash, but our body really craves that for that energy fix. And this is because sugar gets into your bloodstream super fast, which creates that high. But unfortunately, as fast as it comes, it will be gone. And also, feelings like boredom and sadness, or even habit, can lead us to reach for sweet treats. Think about when it comes to habits, about that need for something sweet after a meal. And that's something that I still have. I love my little sweet after a meal, and this has to do with habit. And this craving comes because of the habit. And all this revelation, or this lesson, or this knowledge that I gained thanks to my health coaching studies started my journey towards understanding the true impact of sugar. I learned that it wasn't just about cutting it out, it was about understanding how or why I craved it and how I could manage those cravings without feeling deprived, without feeling like I had to go on another diet. I love chocolates and cookies, but now I'm able to eat them in moderation. I'm satisfied after a few bites, where in the past, I would eat a few pieces of chocolate from let's say, 100-gram bar, and I still craved more. The more I ate, I still craved. And in the end, I finished the whole 100 grams, and maybe I even ended up eating some cookies. And more often than not, I would still not feel satisfied. I would still have those cravings. And now, truly, I can have just a few pieces and feel satisfied. It's possible, and it kind of feels like it's not. I don't know how to explain this, but I feel when I think back, we almost tend to normalize about, or at least that's how I used to be when I talk with friends or people in the past about when we talk about chocolate, how this good this is, and then we say, yeah, I can eat the whole bar, I can eat the whole package and stuff. It was almost like it sounded like we are proud or maybe cool, and we did that to maybe feel like we belong, or I don't know, or that we're the same, that we're also like that. So we tend to normalize it, but actually it is not normal to have the urge to finish the whole bag of cookies. Normal is being able to eat just a few, but again, um, things like, yeah, our biology in one sense, but also things like our emotion, stress, and whatnot, of course, impact those sugar cravings and make it hard to not just eat a few pieces. But as I said, from my experience, we can change that. And I don't want to go too much on a tangent here. So let's continue with what this episode is all about. So if it feels like you're craving sugar, you might be seeking a quick source of energy or to numb a feeling. For me, sometimes, I have stronger cravings depending on how my little one sleeps and how much energy I have the next day. And there sometimes it feels like harder to manage my cravings because my body is craving them. I need that energy fix because I didn't get it through the night. And besides the stress and the energy fix, I think it's also important to mention when it comes to cravings, especially sugar cravings, is that there's various research that has shown that the more sugar people consume, the more they prefer it, the more they crave it. And hence why it is like a strong cycle that is so hard to break. And there's actually lots of interesting research that talks about that. So we'll have some link down below in the show notes. If you're more interested in this topic, I can only recommend you have a read. But what I'm trying to say with this is that in a way you build up tolerance to sugar, requiring you to seek out more concentrated sources or eat it in higher amounts to create that same pleasurable experience that it originally produced. So it's very similar to, like, let's say a drug addiction where your body gets used to it and then you kind of need more and more to have that high. And sugar works in a similar way. That's sometimes why we talk about addiction to sugar, but it's not really the same. It's completely different. It has to do with like all these factors in one sense, of course. And that's also when I think about it, why I was not satisfied even after eating that 100-gram bar of chocolate or the whole bag of cookies, because I built that tolerance. I ate so much sugar all the time or sugary snacks that I craved more because it didn't give me that satisfactions. And in addition to that, those processed foods, those sugary processed foods, or even, of course, salty, if you know it with the bag of chips, you cannot stop, they are designed to make us crave them. So these products may take years to be developed, and they may involve a team of flavor specialists, researchers, engineers, and whatnot to create that perfect combination or that optimal combination of flavor, texture, and feel. And that's also why frequent exposure to these types of foods is likely to increase the desire for them. These kind of foods tend to be higher in calories and fat, but lower in protein and fiber. That usually would help you with the blood sugar balance. They're keeping those cravings at bay. Plus, they usually don't offer a ton of nutritional value aside from that energy. That's why when people compare fruit and processed sugary foods, saying they're the same, it just makes no sense. So I'm just thinking about this now because sometimes I see on social media when, let's say, a health conscious person talks about maybe limiting sugar and then posts a post about, or just talks about making a smoothie, just for an example. And then there's some kind, let's say, haters or people commenting then, well, fruits is also sugar, so you should not be eating this if you say sugar is bad. I hope you get or understand in what kind of direction I'm going with this. But it couldn't be further from the truth. Of course, fruits have sugar, but it's completely different because fruits have vitamins, minerals, so they provide you with nutritional value. They have fiber, which helps to stabilize your blood sugar. So it's completely different than just eating a chocolate bar. And fruits are good for you due to those kind of reasons. Anyways, moving on, because sugar is not just about weight. That's something I kind of focused on when I was thinking about limiting sugar. It was just about weight loss and all of that, but it goes so much deeper. Its impact goes so much deeper. So let me break this down for you. When we consume excess sugar, it triggers a cascade of effects on our body. First, there is that immediate impact, those rapid blood sugar spikes, followed by those low energy crashes that leave you feeling tired and sluggish, irritable, and craving more sugar. It's like being in a roller coaster that you didn't want to join, that you didn't sign up for. And here's where it gets more serious. Over time, this constant sugar bombardment, this constant highs and lows can overwhelm your body's natural regulatory systems. Research has shown that prolonged high sugar consumption can lead to insulin resistance, paving the way for developing type 2 diabetes. It also puts extra stress on your heart, increasing the risk for cardiovascular disease. And to top it all off, there's even studies that have linked high sugar consumption with certain types of cancers. Now, I don't want to scare you off sugar because it is, of course, important that this doesn't mean you need to eliminate sugar from your life. The key is understanding how to enjoy those sweet treats mindfully while maintaining a balanced approach. And that's why I want to share with you some simple strategies that let you manage and satisfy those cravings without compromising your health. For this, let's first talk about balance. So we often see balance like by living a balanced lifestyle and those kind of things on social media. But what does it actually mean? Most importantly, it means incorporating a balanced diet into your life, focusing on a diet rich in proteins, healthy fats, and fiber, because they can help slow down your digestion, meaning they will stabilize your blood sugar levels, which then helps you with those sugar cravings. Because if you learned something until now, is those fast rising blood sugar levels lead to more cravings because the crash is coming just as fast. So we want to make sure that we stabilize that blood sugar, we slow down digestion so that we get energy over time and not just everything gets metabolized super fast. We have that energy quick. So we want to make sure that we keep things going for a prolonged time to keep our energy levels and blood sugar levels at bay. And this is something that is especially important for the morning. So I want to give you some ideas about a balanced breakfast. So for example, you could create a smoothie with spinach, protein powder. Just make sure that it's from a good source, a good quality protein powder. Add in a tablespoon of flaxseed or chia seeds, maybe some blueberries or another fruit. This is a whole balanced meal because we have the fats, the protein, the fiber. Or if you're not really a sweet tooth in the morning or in general, how about some scrambled eggs or tofu on whole grain bread, maybe with some olive oil and some vegetables on the side. For example, I love it with mushrooms and spinach. So there's many ways to create a balanced meal, and which will, of course, then help you with your cravings and blood sugar levels. Also, it's important to look at mindful eating. This really means being present while you eat, slowing down, savoring each bite, and listening to your body's hunger and fullness cues. It's about enjoying food as a source of nourishment rather than a quick fix for your emotional needs or response to stress. And by slowing down, by eating mindfully and slowing down, it also allows you to pay close attention to how you eat, why you eat, and it helps you to identify those triggers or what triggers you to eat those sugary foods or have those sugary cravings. So are you really hungry or are you bored, stressed, or whatever it is? And I always found that it's something so fluffy that it's too simple to be true. Like, I don't know, I just never fully took it serious until, first of all, I learned properly about it and how I learned how it really helped me. And I still notice its power so often because, for example, when I eat chocolate, like I like to pause and be fully present because if I eat chocolate whilst I'm scrolling on my phone or working or whatever, I often still feel those cravings after eating it because it's kind of like I missed that whole experience that, I was eating the chocolate, but I was not fully there. So it didn't fully satisfy my cravings. And I actually talked about this in another video or episode, so you can check it out here. I will link it also down below. And there I also go into the topic of why quick fixes, so diets and magic supplements and those kind of things don't actually work. So be sure to check it out. Now, let's move on to another thing to help with your sugar cravings is, of course, finding healthier alternatives to satisfy your sweet tooth without spiking those blood sugar levels. As I always like to say, it's totally fine and, of course, kind of recommended to eat those sugary foods here and there because they also satisfy your soul and all of that. But we can, of course, or it will be beneficial for your health to find some alternative things that could satisfy those cravings that are a bit healthier so that we can create that balance. For example, opting for fruit, dark chocolate, yogurt that bring a sense of sweetness, that help you still that desire for sweetness, and of course have some nutritional benefits with them. Another thing to add on here is to maybe opt for natural sweeteners like maple syrup or honey, of course, as well in moderation, and to flavor your foods with spices like vanilla or cinnamon because they provide that sweet taste without the sugar spike. And like one of my most favorite snacks has become actually at the moment persimmon with vanilla. So what I do is just cut open a persimmon and put it in a blender, add some vanilla, or like I like to grate some fresh vanilla. I have this little grinder, or what else you can do to add that vanilla flavor. Um, I don't know, that was depends on what is available in different countries. Anyways, or in your supermarket. Anyways, so I like to add the persimmon and the vanilla into the blender, mix it up, and it really, after, like, I'm not kidding you, it tastes like vanilla pudding. It probably even tastes better, and it has that pudding-like consistent uh, texture. Sorry, I was talking in the German words, so I can only recommend that. But of course, persimmon, for example, is a seasonal fruit, so you might not always find it if even. So, for example, in summer, I like to add some cinnamon on top of my watermelon, cinnamon into some yogurt or even on apple. Of course, the fruits in themselves are sweet, but seriously, persimmon with vanilla or those fruits with cinnamon are divine, and they really fill up my cravings. Sometimes, yeah, I still feel like I want a bit chocolate, so I eat a little piece of chocolate and that's it, you know. I learned to balance or manage my cravings with those strategies that I talked about until now. But also another way to manage your sugar cravings is, of course, to make sure to engage in regular physical activity and also make sure that you get adequate sleep. Those are like the basics of overall health and also in managing your cravings, because if you don't get enough sleep, naturally your body has stronger cravings the next day because it needs energy, it is tired, you are tired. And also moving your body helps you build energy, it makes you feel good, it helps you forget cravings, and overall, of course, helps you with your health in general. So make sure to also add in those into your lifestyle, prioritize your sleep, and make sure that you move your body often and in ways that you enjoy, of course. Like for me, since becoming a mom, I often have those afternoon energy slumps depending on my little one slept, right? And I learned that if I go out for a little walk, especially with the fresh air, it always gave me back some energy. And often I would have, or I had found myself thinking like, oh, I'm too lazy, I'm too tired to go for a quick walk, I'm too tired to go out, have to put on the clothes for the little one or whatnot. But whenever I went, never regretted it, and I always felt better afterwards and thank myself that I did go because it did help me, yeah, build energy and let go of those cravings or those constant thoughts about food. So I can only recommend that. And if you should be like me in the past, now I learned it enough to be less of this lazy ass, but I would just remind myself on how it really makes me feel so that I can get over myself and actually go and do what really does me good instead of being lazy and making excuses, right? To put all of this into practice, start small, start by making small changes. So maybe swap one sugary snack for a healthier alternative, find ways, maybe some of mine inspired you, or find ways to satisfy your cravings in healthier ways and do that little swap each day, or introduce that 10-minute walk to combat that afternoon slump. So do small changes and see how it goes. Also, maybe consider to keep a food diary to monitor when and why you're reaching for sugary snacks so that you can understand your triggers, because as always, awareness is the first step, the foundation to change. Something important to mention before we wrap up is that managing your cravings or managing your sugar cravings is less about denying yourself the sweet things in life and more about understanding and balancing your needs. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about making better choices more often. Enjoy those chocolate bars, enjoy those cookies, but try to balance it out with healthier alternatives so that you can support your body, so that you can learn to manage your cravings. And if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more insights on living a healthier, happier life. And with that being said, take care of yourself, be well, until next time.